It was a game on Triton, but it was PvZ. I must have not put it in the thing yet. Yeah, okay, this should be in the folder for today's replays, because it was a good example, once again, of why you should always defend at least somewhat with some workers, because otherwise you get completely rolled. Like, it's not even somewhat close. Any follow-up you do is a bad one if you don't slightly defend the cannon rush. I see someone said something in chat. I'll be with you in 1 second. Just putting stuff where it belongs. Alright, so this is just, that last guy was quite good. Like, his MMR is quite good. What was it? It was like 5.5. Yeah, that last guy was 5,500 MMR, so pretty good. And he decided not to defend and got wrecked. This guy is 5k, you kind of understand it a bit more. He doesn't pull any workers, and he doesn't really put up much of a fight, and he just gets rolled. He even gives me a wow. Oh, what's up, Stroyer? How you doing? I saw you on Hubstream yesterday. We had a good time on Hubstream yesterday. No defense also fails at low level and high level. Tried it versus Coco, mass expanding, and that is 2-star. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is Petros 5k Zerg. Here's a new build I've been working on. It's been pretty successful. I think it's got many advantages over the wall-off version. The main one is your cannon defends your mineral line, defends some of your tech structures. Actually, can defend all three of them on most maps. Not Disco Bloodbath, but that's getting out of the pool. So this cannon that you get here defends the tech structures. Actually, I realize you have to put it there. The cannon needs to go right there, and the pylon needs to go here, and the cannon needs to go 1 hex space in between, and then the cannon. And that will protect this building, except for 1 or 2 Zerglings on that building, and then the third building goes here and is protected by the cannon. So it's actually very safe against Zerglings. It's safe against Banelings if you wall in perfectly, which is quite easy to do once you get the habit. And then it's also... Yeah, so the main advantage is if they Nidus you or they go Muta, you've got the cannon in your mineral line, and it's way more useful than the one that you usually put at the ramp, which is like it can be useful against Zerglings in particular. It's pretty useless against Banelings because you have to do another pylon just to repower it, and it's pretty useless against Roach Ravager because they just sit there and kill the cannon. Whereas if you got it in your mineral line, it's such an awkward thing to fight into stuff with Roaches and Ravagers even, when you've got a cannon with 7 range shooting over all of these chunky ass buildings. So you see all sorts of weird situations where the Zerg's like, oh no wall off, I'm going to go hyper aggressive against this, and they just get wrecked by very minimal, very cheap amount of defense from us. And having the probes there to pull and like attack Ravagers and stuff can actually be quite useful as well. So I think this is actually better than doing the wall-off that I used to do. I asked Uko, very good Zerg, to Baneling all-in me a lot, and he couldn't manage to do anything useful with it. So we concluded that this is actually pretty safe to do. This wall-off is not optimal though. I will show how to wall-off properly, hopefully in another replay. I'll just get some more Dr. Pepper, because I'll be talking a lot and we need to stay hydrated. So the gateway goes down first. That's what makes this a gate forge cannon rush. And then after that, the probe that goes out and would be the first one that starts mining gas. That's the one that you want to be building the forge with, and then you throw the probe back into gas. This is slightly late. It doesn't really matter. The forge timing can be very flexible because it's going to come out very early anyway. Importantly, build your cyber as soon as the gateway finishes. So in terms of decision tree, if you see a hatchery here, you're going to go for a very quick robo at the proxy, as long as you think you'll be able to build a robo at the proxy. If you've got your timing right, everything should work out. If you're late, the creep can often just block the place that you want to put your robo. So this guy cancels his hatch and we get the robo down really quickly anyway. I was greedy this game, and it's a bit tougher to be greedy like this when you go gate forge, because your 150 minerals is already in the gateway at home. and your cyber is already spent as well. So you're potentially 300 minerals less to defend a drone pool. But he responds very late. It's a very small defense once again. So I'll just show it. I call this a no defense. He does make 2 spine crawlers and pull a couple of drones, but it's really late to the point I would just say he didn't defend at all. So there's the pylon. Again, he doesn't pull anything. He sees it with that overlord. Oh my god, he actually doesn't see it with the overlord. I mean, he sees my probe go into his base and then come out like this. He should know, but this overlord actually just doesn't quite see the pylon. Like, as close to not seeing it as you can get. And you might think he did a good response there, right? He's like, well, I'm going to cancel my hatchery at the last second, so you don't get to kill a hatchery for free. And as soon as I could, I threw down some spine crawlers at the pylon, right? On Triton, this is particularly strong because you've got the creep quite close to the ramp. On other maps, you don't get that. Like on Disco, for example, you don't get to attack the cannon from the high ground because the creep is just like over here. And the spine would be there, and the cannon's all the way down by the ramp. So he puts down spines. Spines take 7 seconds longer to build than a cannon. So he can put a spine down, and 6 seconds later, I will respond with my own cannon, and my cannon will come up first. So that's something to bear in mind. Another thing to bear in mind is he can't use his drones because this cannon's going to finish up. I mean, he can a bit now, which is good. Like, this is fine to do what he did. He gets some nice free damage in, basically. I do 1 zap on each of the drones so they get 2-shotted, and it just becomes a massacre here. He loses 2 drones instantly, almost loses a 3rd, and this spine is in range of this cannon. Had the spine not been in range of the cannon, he would have been in a better position, but still 100% dead. I don't even need anything on the high ground. I just need to get my Immortal out and the game ends. So yeah, he goes for a nice Roach Horn, but his spines are all dead and the Immortal comes out. And this is the most one-sided game. Like, no early reaction. You just get an Immortal out at like 3 minutes 20 seconds, and he's like, wow, I'm dead. And I have an Immortal out before he has any Roaches out. That is not a good Roach to Immortal timing, right? And not only is it an Immortal, it's an Immortal with shield batteries. So this game is instantly over when he didn't do anything about the initial pylon. It's kind of like Parting versus Reyna recently. Reyna only just doesn't see the cannon rush and has a really late response. Parting's cannon rush is pretty flimsy because of where it's positioned, where he has to build cannons on the high ground and then fall down to the low ground, and then hope the opponent doesn't get any queens out to just kill your War Prism and your Immortals suck and don't do anything. Reyna didn't handle that very well at all. So it was a weird game. I'm happy that Big Boy did a cannon rush. I'm probably going to have to PM him and offer him some free coaching again. I've coached him in the past. Like, I've given him replays and walked him through it. But he keeps doing that kind of thing, which is like, on this map it would be like setting up here. It's just not very good. I don't know why you would do it over this kind of thing, which is like a million times stronger. And it can get scouted and you still wreck them with it. It's not a, I hope you don't scout this thing. It's a, this is going to work either way. But you'll be at a disadvantage if you don't scout it for sure. Anyway, it's the most like one-sided thing. He didn't even scratch the low ground cannon or the high ground pylon. But the most important thing is that Overlord just didn't see this. So it's a little bit unfair to use that. I thought he saw it and just chose not to do anything. But in actual fact, he just didn't see it by 1 hex, 1 range was the difference between seeing that and not seeing that. Had he seen it, the game would have still gone this way. It would have just looked much less one-sided. So that's another example of not responding to the early pylon and the cannon. On Triton, it's particularly easy because you just go and block the one place that you can put a cannon on the low ground. That's the one place, and after that, there's not really much going on for you. So definitely pull at least 1 drone or 1 worker is what I would say. Probably 1 and then follow up with 3, because if you get your 1 drone in where the cannon should be, or the cannon's already down but your 1 drone blocks where a pylon would go or a gateway would go to block the to wall in the cannon, then your 3 drones jump on the cannon. Again, the game kind of ends and the cannon rusher loses. So I think it's just super worth it to pull a bit. Anyway, there's 2 games there, 5.5k Protoss and 5k Zerg. Don't really defend and they end up dying. So that's a cool example of that.